So I randomly stumbled upon an article by Grimfrost about whether you can be a modern Viking and felt like commenting on this topic. So first off, I'm not here to trash Grimfrost or anyone who shares that opinion. I'm just here to express mine. So their reasoning is because Viking is not limited to a particular ethnicity as long as you adhere to certain values, like courage in the face of hardship, and lust for exploration, and loyalty, and honor, and all these things, and you appreciate the Viking aesthetic, maybe even have an interest in the mythology and all of that, you can be a Viking too. I don't know about that. If you have immense appreciation for samurai, and you try to incorporate Bushido into your daily life. By the way, notice how these look awfully similar to the values ascribed to Vikings? Well, the positive image of Vikings at least. Integrity, respect, heroic courage, honor, maybe compassion not so much, but honesty and sincerity, duty and loyalty, depending on how you interpret early medieval Nordic ethics, I suppose. Much the same virtues attributed to knights as well. Everybody's a Viking, or something. And try to follow certain Japanese cultural ideals in general. That doesn't make you a samurai. That makes you a weeb. No, it doesn't. Unless it also involves anime waifus and body pillows and lack of personal hygiene. Here's a bit of shameless self-promotion. The would-be Viking segue is beards. If you like to treat yours, beard sorcery is what I like. Cleric's Charm is my personal favorite. They've got all kinds of good stuff. Oil, balm, wax with a number of really nice scents. And I'm an affiliate, so if you shop there through the affiliate link downstairs, you're supporting the channel at the same time. Same if you buy merch, like this right here, over at Bonfire, also affiliate link down there. And of course, Cult of Athena if you're interested in historical arms and armor reproductions, clothing, accessories, decorative stuff, they have a lot. And I turn my affiliate commission into store credits, so the more goodies you shop for, the more stuff I can get for future tests and reviews and all of that. And finally, Amazon, where I have a list of personal recommendations of things that I own or have used before. There's a lot of books about historical arms and armor and martial arts, and video equipment, swords obviously, knives, so on and so forth. So if you're doing some Christmas shopping, might be interesting. I used to be sort of a Viking fanboy, I guess you could say, back in my youth. Back in my day, when I was a teenager and young adult. And I was really into the whole thing, the culture of the religion and mythology, and really just about everything. And just like a lot of kids and teenagers, I made the same kind of mistakes of looking at things through rose-tinted glasses. Whenever it was pointed out that, well, the Vikings pillaged and raided and raped people and all of this, the reaction is, no, that's just a bad publicity, and look at all the trading they did and all the places they discovered and all this other cool stuff they did. And, as I kept looking into history and comparing different cultures from different parts of the world, I got more and more disillusioned because we humans as a species, we suck. We're kind of horrible. And everybody, like every group, every culture, every population that you can look at is guilty of some heinous shit, quite frankly. Now, they also have all the positives going for them, because that's also the other thing. Humans are a mixed bag, okay? We do great things. We can be compassionate. We can help others. We can, make great inventions, we can discover things, we can torture and murder and destroy and devastate and enslave, and yeah, it's just, we do all these things. And Vikings were no different. Speaking of Viking, what even is a Viking? The term is often used for medieval Scandinavians in general, which is inaccurate. To go Viking, Vikinger, actually meant going out on expeditions, basically, which could be for a number of reasons. It could be to pillage, plunder. It could be to explore. It could be to go trade. It could be to conquer and fight. It could be for a number of reasons. So the idea that there was a Viking lifestyle and Viking honor and loyalty and everything, this is all stuff that applies to general culture at the time. If you think about a heresier or a jarl or other people of importance who stayed home, they would embody all those qualities. They would have what you would call Viking culture without being actual Vikings because they didn't go out. I mean, some of them did, but if they didn't, then they technically weren't Vikings. At the same time, a humble farmer who tills the land would not be a Viking until he decides to sail out there and go do Viking things. So it's a bit tricky to say that you can adhere to certain ideals or conduct yourself in a certain way and that makes you a Viking. And let's think about it. Lust for exploration and adventure is something that literally every tourist nowadays has. If you take a plane ticket to who knows where, a place that you've never been to, or maybe even a cruise, so you're on an actual ship, you're an explorer. I mean, not really because everything is already explored, but that's the only way you can really imitate that, emulate that behavior and that mindset. So every tourist is a Viking? It just doesn't really work that way in my mind. And even if you go with the religion, we don't really know too well exactly what it was and how, because it's all filtered through the lens of Christian writing. After Scandinavians had abandoned their old Viking ways and their pagan ways in particular, they distance themselves from all of that, which is also the reason why in the later Icelandic and other Scandinavian sources from the Middle Ages, Viking has a very negative connotation. It means pirate, evil person, like all the negative stereotypes, because they wanted to distance themselves from their pagan heritage, which they weren't too proud of at that time. So everything they wrote down is filtered through that lens. Now, a lot of it may still be accurate, in particular skaldic poetry, which you really can't alter too much without messing with the wordsmithing, basically, that was part of it. There were a lot of kenningar, which is basically a metaphor. Artistic means and tools and rigid structure and all of this, which you can't very well just alter willy-nilly. And I mean, they could have gone through the trouble. It seems less likely, but there's a lot of writing that's very clearly colored through that lens. We don't have direct first-hand accounts from actual Scandinavians of the time, or Norsemen is probably a better word. So the words of actual Norsemen about their mythology and their gods and everything weren't handed down to us. Again, we can try to reconstruct and we can reach some pretty decent approximations, or maybe more. It's just hard to say for sure. So what do you make of that if you want to be a Viking? Let me tell you one thing, okay? An undercut is not Viking. There's nothing Viking about it. So yeah, as said, nowadays I'm a little bit disillusioned and don't buy into the romanticized version of Vikings anymore. And I'm also not that attached to them. I still like a lot about the aesthetics and the equipment, and like this right here. That's why I got this helmet. And the shields I quite like too. The swords, interestingly enough, I don't really feel that attached to. I definitely prefer later designs, or earlier for that matter too. And so I neither glorify Vikings nor demonize them or anything like that, because the truth is somewhere in between. And there's a lot interesting about it, but I just can't help but look back at much of history and think, wow, what a horrible time to be alive, you know, considering all the things that could happen to you out of the blue that you had very little control over. Because, well, what are you gonna do if you're a fisherman or a farmer or whatever, and suddenly there's a bunch of armed dudes showing up on the shores and just they cut you down, take all your stuff, and you know, take your women and children and sell them off into slavery or keep them for themselves. That kind of sucks, doesn't it? In fact, also being a Viking during longer trips on a boat that didn't offer any shelter from the elements, because you couldn't go below deck the way you could on later ships, and even then life could be pretty miserable for a sailor on later era ships as well. Either way, so no, I don't think you can be a modern age Viking. I mean, you can call yourself whatever you want, you can adopt whatever lifestyle you want. I just think that might make you a bit of an edgelord, you know? Because let's think about it. Like, who doesn't value these things like loyalty, you know, honor, courage? Honesty is not really necessarily associated with Vikings, but it's another one of the common values that people usually like, unless they're politicians, I guess. But we're talking about actual humans with a soul. So, yeah, like, who doesn't? Like, this doesn't make you special to adhere to such values. Again, I'm not trying to trash anybody, and feel free to disagree all you like. This is just one nerd's opinion or geek or whatever. I still don't know what the hell I am, and I don't care. But yeah, this is just my opinion. Take it or leave it. And thanks for listening to this long-ass rant. Hope you got something out of it, maybe, or maybe it got you all fired up and you're angrily typing right now. Either way, thanks for your time, and have a good one.